Kirthiga Reddy stands out as one of the most visionary women in global technology and investment. She began her journey as the first employee and later managing director of Facebook India, where she helped build the company's footprint across South Asia from the ground up. She then broke new ground in the world of venture capital by becoming the first female investing partner at SoftBank Investment Advisors, the firm behind the massive SoftBank Vision Fund. Today, she leads as founder, CEO of Verix and OptimizeGeo.ai, a Web3 and trust tech startup, and also spearheads AI Kiran, a recently launched initiative which is aimed at powering and elevating Indian women into leadership roles in artificial intelligence, combining mentorship, funding access, and blockchain verified recognition. Folks, I give you the Kirthiga Reddy.
Thank you for the joy in the introduction. Joy is such a powerful word, and I hope each one of us come to each day with joy in your being, and that's certainly the sentiment that I have today as I stand here opening the keynote for the Entrepreneurship Track. Are we feeling unbound? Yes? All right. Let's get a quick show of hands. 3 options. 1, who are entrepreneurs already in this room? That's option 1. Option 2, who are entrepreneurs? These are people within companies who are bringing that entrepreneurial sense and really taking their companies forward. So they might not have a founder title, but essentially act as founders, just as important. And the third one is the want-to-be entrepreneurs who want to get into that founding role. So let's get a quick show of hands so we know who's in this audience. 1, entrepreneurs today. Okay, about 10%. All right, intrapreneurs, people within companies who are innovating. Anyone who's like within a company innovating like hell. Okay, all right. All right, the rest of you want to be entrepreneurs? Okay, all right, let's jump in. So I'm going to talk about, and the slide moves somehow, and maybe I'll just tell you next slide so that we can get the slides going. All right, let's talk about how to build a billion-dollar business from the ground up. And I'll give you 2 perspectives, maybe 3 perspectives. 1, from taking Facebook India to the first 400 million in revenue on a path to several billions, which it is today. 2, from the perspective of investing over $1 billion in AI-led investments at SoftBank Vision Fund across their first quantum computing investment, additive manufacturing, mental wellness, enterprise, health, and more. And then, in my current avatar as the founder, CEO of my own AI-enabled startup, and also the founder of the AI Kiran Million Women in AI initiative. So those are the perspectives that I'll be talking about. So we'll talk about 3 steps, if you go to the next slide. And this is intended to address entrepreneurs at any stage. It's about starting, it's about scaling, and doing that process all over again. So let's start with starting. Number 1 principle, if you go to the next slide, it is to know your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you thinking about this? And deeply know your why. I often say entrepreneurship, in all logical ways, does not make sense. And entrepreneurship is truly a calling, and you need to know your why. You need to know your why when you think about what is it that you want to embark on. If you go to the next slide, at Facebook, our big mission was give people the power to share and make the world more open and connected. That was where the platform came into play, and the monetization was the advertising model around Facebook. If I think about my company right now, we started with my core mantra is that when businesses succeed, livelihoods flourish. It's a key thing that I think about every single day. So when we started and I jumped back into founding, by the way, I was driven by a few different things, including the fact that only a single-digit percentage of deep tech founders were female, and only 2% of funding goes to female founders. And that stat kept kept waking up to that stat, and I said, if not me, who? If not now, when? And I jumped back into building. So if you do one more click, that's the current product. We actually started with saying, can we use blockchain to enable creator monetization? Very quickly went to seeing the enterprise pull. All of you would have received badges for the Grace Hopper conference. They were all fueled by the Verix platform. And by the way, so be sure that you claim it and you share it and you tag us. And the signals are super important. It signals how curious you are, so make sure you're making that signal well known. But in that process, we stumbled into the fact that search engine volumes were dropping, and we saw that for Verix itself, and consumer behavior is moving to AI search-led discovery, where whether it's your enterprise technology solutions, consulting solution, beauty, healthcare, travel, you're first starting with ChatGPT Perplexity. So this is the launch of our latest platform, Optimized Geo. That's a platform that helps brands magically appear in AI search queries for your product, your brand, your companies. And I wouldn't be a founder worth my salt if I didn't have, if you put up the next, just tab once more, there is a QR code that will come up. So you can scan the QR code, go to optimizedgeo.ai, tell all your friends who are building companies, tell your companies that this is something that they need to have. Okay, so deeply know your why. Why are you doing this? And for me, the why is around enabling businesses to succeed and having helped brands with the last transition to social and mobile. I want to make sure I do that with the current shift to AI-driven search. Okay, so once you know your why, next slide, think about your big, bold vision. What is it that you want to accomplish? What are the concrete measures? If you go to the next slide, at Facebook, our first goal, the first 4-year goal, was 100, 100, 100. It was a vision that we thought about very carefully. It was a cross-functional goal. The first 100 was 100 million users on the platform. The next 100 was 100 million in revenue. And the third 100 was 100 million people that we wanted to impact through our community efforts. At that time, the internet did not even have 100 million people. We used to ask people, are you on the internet? They would say no. Are you on Facebook? They would say yes. Okay? So that was the state at that point, and for us to have 100, 100, 100 was a true BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. So think about your big, hairy, audacious goal for your company and quantify it. And by the way, it could be 10, it could be 1,000, it could be 10,000. There's no judgment to what that goal is, but make sure it is big and bold and it feels scary to you. Because unless it feels scary to you, you're not living up to your potential, so close that gap if those dreams don't feel scary to you. And this principle applies across all initiatives, including if you want to do impact initiatives. With AI Kiran, our goal is 1 million women in AI. Any AI Kiran woman in the audience? Woohoo! Let's hear it for the women who are shaping AI for the country and for across the world. Can we stand up? Okay, we need to see you, okay? Again, fabulous. And please join the AIKiran.ai, contribute, shape the community. We are standing at a place where there's a 130-year gender equity gap. We need to do everything that we can to make sure we don't sit at that same place for the AI equity gap. And this transformation is so important that we can't miss it. So jump in and not only use AI, but actually build an AI. And I want to show you a quick video. The AI Kiran community encompasses everyone from high school learners to university to people in industry like the ones that you saw, people who are in academia, and AI contributors. These are people who are fueling the AI revolution of the world with data gathering, prompt engineering, and the like. And we're going to play the next video. I should just keep this clicker down. I'm just standing with this clicker. All right, so let's play this video. Ta-dam, ta-dam. We'll give it 30 seconds. If not, we'll send you the video. Okay? All right, we'll keep going. But there's a beautiful video of someone, this is with our partner NextWealth, where they work with Tier 2, Tier 3. As I said, these are women doing the unsung, they're the unsung heroes of the AI revolution. And as part of this AI revolution, the pride that they have in also income generation, which far exceeds what their family background currently is, and the ability to contribute meaningfully is so beautiful to see. Okay, now that you know your why, now that you have your vision about how that looks like, make sure you know your funding strategy. And this is the biggest thing that I see entrepreneurs trip up with, is having this romanticized view, if you may, or being fearful of where is it that you have your funding strategy. Whether it's bootstrapped, whether it's friends and family, and if you're thinking about venture, make sure you understand what it takes to be a venture-funded company. And there's so much material right now. Look at all the articles from Y Combinator and the like. There's so much material. Go to ChatGPT and understand your different modes of funding. And sometimes the amount of funding that is available, including in government grants in India for female entrepreneurs, is unparalleled. And there's money that is there that is at the risk of not being used. So make sure that you tap into your community, the Grace Hopper community. A big shout out to the entrepreneurs in this audience. Entrepreneurs in this audience? Anyone? Okay, make sure you go for the opening at 12 o'clock and shop and support women-owned businesses. Okay, so make sure you understand your cash position and how is it that you're going to build the business. All right, once you have that foundation into place, let's start building and let's start scaling. So if you go to the next slide, as we think about scaling, next slide, okay? For all of what you think about on the business side and your business model, also deeply internalize that culture eats strategy for breakfast. I was at the very first meeting when I had Facebook executives come visit the India office. We had done all our prep, our PowerPoints, the fonts, the colors, and I started presenting, and my first slide was about the business impact that we had had, and I was so proud of the business impact that we have had. There was a moment of silence in the meeting. I said, what's going on? I mean, these are great results. And the executives, they shared with me, they said, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I first want to know, are you hiring the right people? Are you building the right culture? Because if you do that and if you set the right vision, business results will come, okay? And that was an aha moment for me. I had had many people ask me about culture, but not in that order. And I have tried to take shortcuts with this philosophy, and every time that has come back to bite me. Many founders think, but where is the time? I'm thinking about fundraising, I'm thinking about product, customers. Where is the time to think about culture? But culture is about how we show up at work, how we give feedback, how we handle conflicts, and that is happening anyways, so you might as well be intentional about it. And in our case, the first part of that was defining values. How is it that we need to act, and how is it that we need to behave, and investing deeply. It's a huge amount of effort, but it's something that is so critical. Business models are easy to compile and change, but culture is not. As I said, at Facebook, it was about values, be bold, be open, and we deeply invested. If you think about be open, we actually invested in training people on constructive criticism. We would have fast feedback sessions where it's like speed dating. You would give feedback to one thing that is going well and one thing that you can do better to build that muscle. I would continuously go up in all hands and talk about bloopers that I made and how is it that feedback was super valuable for me. And I will say that again, given the amount of constructive feedback I used to get, I think we did a phenomenal job in building that culture of be open. So really deeply invest in culture and know that it does not stop. It feels tiring, but it is so worth it. If you put the next tab at my startup, in July, when I was in India, we got a whole team together for an AI hackathon. It was a 2-week hackathon. We got one break on a Sunday. We just worked, we brainstormed. And from that brainstorm came the optimized geo product that since then, this was July, August, September, October, November, and now December. In 4 months, we conceptualized, we built a product, we went to market, we have partners, and we're scaling. And send all of your good wishes and your energy, but that came from that cultural environment. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so once you do that, next slide is about the scaling, okay? In God, we trust. For all else, we use data. We can sit down and agonize. Okay, should we do 2 markets? Should we do 1 market? Should we go enterprise? Should we go SMB? There are so many endless options, and that can feel exhausting. Act and lean into those options. And by the way, AI serves as a beautiful strategy ally for you to brainstorm and to get market numbers. And then pick 3, 5, whatever your capacity is, to fail fast, to experiment, set your goals, fail fast. And that will get you far ahead than any kind of just brainstorming an Excel spreadsheet on the pros and cons that you do. And we have done that consistently. I've seen that in the Facebook world. We're in the midst of doing that for Optimized Geo as we iterate on that. So in God we trust, for all else use data. And once you do that, it's simple. You just keep repeating that process. And I can't tell you how much that repetition, startups are about adding a zero. You go from 0 to 1 to 10 to 100, and very quickly, it's about adding a zero. If I think about the AI Kiran community, when we started and launched AI Kiran, if you went to ChatGPT and asked, tell me about 100 women in AI in India, it would give you 10, and it would say, I cannot answer that question. And surely, there are more than 10 women in AI in India. Yes? Yeah? Okay. And so now the AI Kiran community is 10,000 women strong, where we have named people who are shaping healthcare, enterprise, education, environment. It's so incredible to see. So we have already added a few zeros from that number to get to 10,000, and we only have 2 more zeros to go for getting to that million. So you break down your problem, and you go at it one at a time. Leverage the power of ecosystems. GHC is a huge ecosystem. Entrepreneuria is a huge ecosystem. There are so many ecosystems that are here and willing and want to help you. In my case, if you press the next slide, I very much benefited from the marketing ecosystem the first time around. And so if you go to the next slide, and it was really phenomenal. The day I landed in India, I went to the Exchange for Media Awards, and there I met people who had worked with day in and day out in the last consumer shift to social and mobile, and it was so beautiful to reconnect and tap into that ecosystems. Ecosystems will take you far. Think about the ecosystems that you want to leverage. There's a whole OpenAI ecosystem building, Perplexity ecosystem building. Go in there. They're hungry and eager for people to innovate. And the last aspect, which I will stress on, and that speaks to the reinvent and the repetition nature, it never stops. Entrepreneurship, like how many people have gone and said, oh my God, this is the most important quarter for the company, and next quarter, it is the most important quarter for the company. It never stops. Yes? Nods. It's just important for a different reason, but it is always an important quarter for one reason or another. And I want to share a story. My first job after engineering was with Silicon Graphics, which was then the OpenAI of its time. Everybody wanted to be in that company. We were a high-performance computing company at the heart of the Human Genome Project, the making of Jurassic Park, the landing on Mars, you name it. And we had customers who told us that we solve problems like nobody else can. When I first joined, and some of you who were there last evening would have heard this, the CFO came on stage and he said, we have so much money, we don't know what to do with it. Everybody got a really fancy luxury tag watch. I had joined too late. I didn't fit that window to get that, and that still hurts. But that was also the start of the decline, in that about 15 years later, long after I went, this company, $2 billion, highly profitable, was bankrupt, and they had to sell their assets. This is a sign from in front of the Facebook office. It's one hack away, and you see the like sign. Silicon Graphics competed with Sun Microsystem. The Silicon Graphics office where I sat in is now the Google headquarters. The Sun Microsystem, which was a competitor, is now the Facebook headquarters. And if you go to Facebook, Mark has this, you will see the front sign, one hack away like, and behind that is the Sun Microsystem original sign, which is a reminder to everyone that we have to keep track of where the consumer is going, where technology is going. We can't be complacent. We have to be unbound in our thinking in every dimension and reinvent or die. So that are just some thoughts for you, and I can't wait to see how you apply it in your big, bold vision. Stay rooted in the why, because when businesses succeed, livelihoods flourish, and I am wishing each one of you so much joy, so much cheer as you go through your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you.
Kirthiga, I'm going to need you to stay on stage.
Yes.
Can we turn back my mic off? Yeah. The one thing I'm taking away,
Yes.
Kirthiga, is if it's not scary enough, then you're not doing it right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And some
for-
people ask me, do you have sometimes, like, do you feel something is not working, have the imposter syndrome? I said, far too often and far too recent than you would ever imagine. So all of us go through that journey, but step into fear. And my favorite Facebook poster is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? I would want you to think about it. What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Thank you for being here,
Thank
Kirthiga.
you.
Thank you for starting us on a day like this. I don't think there could have been a more powerful start to, well, what we call entrepreneurship, and that is a whole smorgasbord of so much more within an individual. As a thank you, we just have a little memento for you that I'd like to hand over.
Well, thank you. You reminded me of one final story that I will share, and which is that my mother, when people ask me what drives me, what makes me lean into fear, is my mother. She didn't have the opportunity to finish her high school education because her parents said, you only need enough math to do the grocery bill, because why would a girl need more math? Her brother finished a postgraduate degree. My mother, who didn't finish her high school education, one of the IPO bell ringings at New York Stock Exchange that I was doing, she joined us over Zoom. And here was my mother, who hadn't finished her high school education, at the New York Stock Exchange with her daughter on the podium and her granddaughters who were also on stage. And that picture is a surreal moment of how much difference one generation can make. And so we gift you that and want you to make a huge generation.